Hello and welcome to Science for Bedtime. This is a quiet space made for gentle listening and unhurried thought, where science is not something to master, but something to rest beside. If your day has been full or your mind feels a little crowded, you don't need to do anything special here. You can simply listen, letting the words drift past like slow-moving clouds while your body settles into its own natural rhythm. Tonight, we'll explore some of the most calming and quietly remarkable truths about the human body, not as a list to remember and not as a lesson to follow closely, but as a soft journey through the hidden work happening within you every moment. Even now, as you lie still, your body is active in the most peaceful ways, repairing, balancing, and sustaining itself without asking for your attention. Right now, beneath the surface of your skin, millions of cells are renewing themselves. This renewal happens constantly, not in bursts you can feel, but as a steady background process. Cells divide, specialize, and take on new roles, replacing those that have worn out. Skin quietly refreshes itself. Blood cells are replenished. The lining of your digestive system renews again and again. You don't sense any of this happening, yet it continues faithfully, a quiet assurance that life within you is always tending to itself. Your body is never static. Even parts that feel solid and permanent are in motion on a microscopic scale. Your bones, for example, are not fixed structures like stone. They are living tissues constantly being broken down and rebuilt. Specialized cells dissolve old bone, while others lay down new material in its place. Over the years, this process reshapes and strengthens your skeleton in response to how you move through the world. Even in rest, your bones remain gently active, maintaining balance and resilience. Your heart, resting quietly in your chest, works with a calm persistence that never truly pauses. About the size of your closed fist, it contracts and releases in a steady rhythm, adjusting subtly to your needs. When you are calm, it slows. When you move or feel emotion, it responds. This rhythm is guided by its own internal electrical system, allowing it to beat without conscious instruction. Even now, as you listen, each beat sends blood on its way through a vast network of vessels, delivering oxygen and nutrients with quiet reliability. As that blood moves, it carries red blood cells shaped in a way that makes their task easier. These cells have no nucleus, leaving more space for hemoglobin, the molecule that binds oxygen. Their flexible shape allows them to bend and squeeze through the smallest capillaries, sometimes passing through one at a time. In these narrow passages, oxygen slips gently from blood into tissue, sustaining muscles, organs, and nerves in countless tiny exchanges you never notice. Your breathing follows a similar pattern of effortless precision. With each breath, air travels through branching pathways, growing narrower and finer until it reaches millions of tiny air sacs in your lungs. Here, oxygen passes into the blood, while carbon dioxide drifts out to be exhaled. This exchange happens quietly, rhythmically, whether you are awake, asleep, or lost in thought. Even when your mind wanders, your breath continues its calm work, maintaining balance with every rise and fall. Inside your brain, activity does not fade simply because you are resting. In some stages of sleep, certain regions of the brain become even more active than when you are awake. Neural patterns replay experiences, reinforce memories, and explore imagined scenarios. This internal activity helps integrate emotion and learning, shaping how you feel and respond when you wake. Sleep is not an absence of function, but a different kind of awareness, one turned inward, thoughtful in its own quiet way. Your brain itself is a softly humming network of cells, communicating through tiny electrical and chemical signals. These signals travel along pathways insulated by specialized structures that allow information to move quickly and efficiently. Even so, the brain filters much of what it receives. At any moment, your senses take in far more information than you consciously perceive. Your brain gently decides what to notice and what to let fade into the background, protecting you from being overwhelmed. Your skin, the boundary between you and the world, is also alive with sensation and renewal. It is the largest organ of your body, constantly sensing temperature, pressure, and touch. Its outer layers shed and replace themselves regularly, forming a protective barrier that is always new. Within the skin, nerve endings respond to the lightest contact, while deeper layers regulate heat and moisture. All of this happens without instruction, a steady collaboration between cells that know their roles well. Beneath the skin, muscles maintain a subtle state of readiness known as tone. Even when you are completely relaxed, muscles remain slightly engaged, keeping your posture aligned and your body supported. This gentle tension uses very little energy, yet it provides stability and balance. During deep sleep, some of this tone softens, allowing fuller rest, while essential muscles continue their quiet work, especially those that keep your breathing steady. Your digestive system, often unnoticed unless it asks for attention, is guided by its own intricate network of neurons. This internal nervous system coordinates movement, secretion, and absorption, largely independent of conscious thought. Food moves along its winding path through rhythmic contractions, enzymes break it down, and nutrients are absorbed into the bloodstream. Even now, this process continues at its own unhurried pace, turning meals from hours ago into the energy and materials your body needs. Within that system lives a vast community of microscopic companions. Trillions of bacteria inhabit your gut, forming a unique ecosystem that helps digest food, produce vitamins, and communicate with your immune system. This microbial world is not an intruder, but a partner, shaped by your diet, environment, and history. Together, your human cells and microbial residents form a balanced collaboration, one that quietly supports health and stability. Your immune system, too, is always present, even when you feel perfectly well. Specialized cells patrol your body, guided by chemical signals that lead them toward potential threats. When they encounter something unfamiliar, they respond, sometimes remembering it for years. This memory allows faster, gentler responses in the future. Most of the time, this vigilance goes completely unnoticed, a silent watchfulness that protects without disturbing your rest. Even your senses reveal surprising calm when you look closely. Your eyes, for example, are constantly making tiny movements, refreshing the image they send to the brain. You blink more often than you realize, spreading moisture across the surface of the eye and keeping vision clear. During each blink, your brain smoothly fills in the brief moment of darkness, preserving a continuous view of the world without interruption. As the night deepens, your body temperature follows its own gentle cycle, slowly lowering to support rest. Hormones shift in quiet coordination, signaling that it is time to slow down. Cells focus more on repair. Energy is redirected inward. These rhythms are guided by internal clocks present in nearly every organ, all loosely synchronized to the rise and fall of light outside. None of this requires effort from you. The body knows how to do these things because it has been shaped by millions of years of quiet refinement. Long before language, long before cities, human bodies learned how to balance activity and rest, alertness and sleep. Those same patterns continue now within you, steady and dependable. You don't need to hold on to any of these details. They can simply pass through your awareness, leaving behind a sense of reassurance. Your body is capable, it is attentive in its own way, it continues its work even as you let go. And as listening becomes softer and thoughts begin to drift, you can allow yourself to rest alongside this quiet knowledge. The human body, complex and resilient, is doing what it has always done. It will keep breathing, circulating, repairing, and balancing, carrying you gently towards sleep, while you fade into the calm of the night. Within your cells, energy is managed with remarkable care. Tiny structures called mitochondria transform nutrients into usable power, releasing it slowly and efficiently. This process produces warmth, the gentle heat that keeps your body at a steady temperature. Even in stillness, this energy exchange continues like embers glowing quietly long after a fire has settled. You don't feel it happening, but it supports every breath, every heartbeat, every subtle movement. Your nervous system, stretching from your brain down through your spine and outward to every corner of your body, carries messages with calm precision. Some signals move quickly, allowing immediate responses, while others travel more slowly, shaping mood, digestion, and long-term balance. These pathways are insulated and organized, ensuring clarity rather than noise. In rest, many signals soften, allowing the system to recalibrate, like a network dimming its lights for the night. Deep inside your ears, tiny fluid-filled canals help you sense balance and orientation. As you lie still, the fluid rests, sending quiet reassurance to your brain about where your body is in space. This sense of stability allows muscles to relax further, trusting that there is no need to adjust or correct. Even with your eyes closed, your body knows where it is, grounded and supported. Your sense of smell, though subtle now, remains quietly alert. Specialized cells in your nose detect chemical traces in the air, translating them into signals that reach deep emotional centers of the brain. Smell is closely tied to memory, often stirring feelings before thoughts form. In the calm of the night, these pathways are less stimulated, allowing emotional landscapes to smooth and settle. Taste, too, rests peacefully. The cells that detect flavor renew themselves regularly, ensuring that each new day brings fresh sensitivity. Tonight, they are still waiting. The mouth produces saliva even in rest, keeping tissues comfortable and protected. This simple fluid contains enzymes and antibodies, another example of gentle maintenance happening without demand. Your liver, tucked quietly beneath your ribs, continues its steady work. It filters blood, processes nutrients, and neutralizes substances that don't belong. It stores energy for later use and releases it as needed, maintaining balance with quiet confidence. If damaged, it can regenerate in ways few organs can, a reminder of the body's deep capacity for recovery and resilience. As blood flows through your kidneys, millions of microscopic filters refine it drop by drop. Waste is separated, useful substances are returned, and water balance is adjusted with extraordinary precision. This careful filtration helps keep your internal environment stable, protecting every cell from extremes. Even during sleep, this cleansing continues, gentle and exact. Your bones, while resting, also serve as reservoirs. Minerals like calcium are stored and released as needed, supporting muscle contraction, nerve signaling, and heart rhythm. This exchange is carefully regulated, ensuring that strength and flexibility coexist. The skeleton is not only a framework, but an active participant in maintaining harmony throughout the body. Inside your brain, networks that handle emotion and memory communicate softly. Experiences from the day may be replayed, not as clear narratives, but as fragments and impressions. These are sorted and integrated, helping feelings settle and memories find their place. Dreams may emerge from this process, blending imagination and memory into gentle, drifting scenes that require no interpretation. Your eyes, closed now, continue to receive signals from within. Light-sensitive cells respond not only to brightness, but to the absence of it, informing internal clocks that night has arrived. This darkness supports the release of hormones that encourage rest, guiding the body deeper into sleep-friendly rhythms. Your heart and brain remain closely connected. With each heartbeat, a subtle pressure wave travels upward, influencing neural activity in small but meaningful ways. This rhythm helps synchronize internal systems, creating a quiet sense of coherence. You may not feel it, but this steady pulse is part of what makes rest feel safe and continuous. Even your skin participates in this nighttime conversation. Blood vessels near the surface adjust their diameter, helping regulate temperature. Sweat glands remain mostly quiet, while sensory receptors reduce their activity, allowing touch to fade into the background. The boundary between you and the world becomes softer, less insistent. Across your body, countless processes align toward restoration. Cells focus on repair. Inflammation eases, energy use becomes more efficient. This is not forced or rushed. It unfolds naturally, guided by internal timing refined over generations. You don't need to guide any of this. The body understands rest deeply. It has practiced it across millions of nights, under open skies, in shelters, in shared spaces, and in quiet rooms like this one. Sleep is not a skill to master, but a state to allow. As listening becomes less distinct, you can let the words blur at the edges. They don't need to stay sharp. Like the body's own signals, they can soften and fade, leaving only a sense of calm continuity. Breathing remains steady. The heart keeps its gentle rhythm. Cells continue their quiet exchanges. And you can drift, supported by systems that know exactly how to carry you through the night, into deeper rest, and onward toward morning, without effort, without urgency, held by the calm intelligence of your own living body. Inside your body, coordination continues without any sense of performance or intention. Different systems operate on their own timelines, yet they remain quietly synchronized. The endocrine system releases hormones in carefully measured amounts, influencing metabolism, growth, and repair. These chemicals travel slowly compared to nerve signals, shaping longer arcs of balance rather than instant reactions. Their effects unfold over hours, sometimes days, creating stability that feels seamless from the inside. Your blood itself is a moving archive. Within it are cells at different stages of life, some newly formed, others nearing the end of their short existence. Red blood cells circulate for only a few months before being recycled, their components reused to build new ones. White blood cells vary widely in lifespan, from days to years, depending on their role. This constant turnover keeps the system responsive without ever feeling chaotic. In your brain, neurons are supported by an even larger population of glial cells. These cells were once thought to be passive, but they actively regulate chemical environments, recycle neurotransmitters, and insulate neural pathways. Some help form the blood-brain barrier, carefully controlling what enters the brain's environment. Others assist in learning by strengthening or weakening connections. Much of what allows thought to feel smooth and continuous is managed by these quiet helpers working in the background. Your eyes rely on a thin, transparent structure called the cornea, which has no blood vessels at all. This absence keeps it clear, but it still needs oxygen. Instead of receiving it from blood, the cornea absorbs oxygen directly from the air, delivered through a thin layer of tears each time you blink. It is an elegant solution, one that trades complexity for clarity, and it works continuously without attention. The sense of balance you carry comes from motion-detecting structures that do not depend on sight. 3 tiny curved canals in each inner ear are filled with fluid and lined with sensitive hair cells. When your head moves, the fluid shifts, bending the hairs and sending information about direction and speed to the brain. Even when you are still, these structures confirm orientation, contributing to a subtle sense of physical confidence. Within your chest, the heart's muscle fibers are arranged in spirals rather than straight lines. This twisting structure allows each beat to ring blood efficiently through the chambers, maximizing output while conserving energy. It is one reason the heart can work continuously for decades. Efficiency here is not about speed, but about form shaped over time. Your bones, though strong, are also responsive. They contain living cells and blood vessels, and within their inner spaces lies bone marrow, the birthplace of blood cells. This soft tissue is responsible for producing millions of new cells every second, ensuring oxygen delivery and immune defense remain steady. The skeleton is not only support, but production, quietly supplying the rest of the body. Your digestive tract is lined with folds and projections that dramatically increase its surface area. In the small intestine, microscopic structures called villi and microvilli create an interface optimized for absorption. Nutrients pass through these layers into the bloodstream with remarkable selectivity. This system allows a long, winding tube to act as an efficient gateway between food and tissue. Your sense of smell is wired directly into brain regions associated with emotion and memory, bypassing some of the usual processing routes. This is why certain scents can evoke strong feelings or vivid recollections almost instantly. The connection is anatomical, not poetic. Smell travels a shorter neural path, linking chemistry in the air to deep internal responses. Even your skin carries a kind of memory. Cells in the immune layer of the skin remember past exposures, responding more quickly when they encounter familiar substances again. Pigment-producing cells adjust their activity based on light exposure, protecting deeper tissues. Hair follicles cycle through phases of growth, rest, and release, each on its own timeline, independent of conscious awareness. Your muscles are built from fibers organized into bundles, each capable of contracting on its own. This structure allows fine control from delicate movements to powerful actions. Within these fibers, calcium ions move in and out of storage, triggering contraction and release. The chemistry is precise, repeatable, and deeply conserved across species. Inside your brain, electrical activity is not constant or uniform. It rises and falls in waves, with different frequencies associated with different kinds of processing. These rhythms are not commands, but tendencies, reflecting how large groups of neurons coordinate. They shift naturally across the day, influenced by experience, light, and internal state. Your body is also shaped by its past. Cells respond differently based on earlier conditions, a phenomenon known as cellular memory. Muscle cells, for example, can retain additional nuclei from previous training, allowing faster adaptation if activity resumes later. The body remembers effort at the level of tissue, not just thought. At the smallest scale, molecules collide, bind, and separate according to physical laws that apply everywhere in the universe. The chemistry inside you follows the same principles that govern stars and oceans. Enzymes speed reactions without being consumed. Gradients drive movement from areas of high concentration to low. Order emerges not from force, but from probability and structure. All of this continues regardless of attention. The body does not wait for awareness to function, and it does not require interpretation to remain precise. These processes are not striving toward a moment. They are ongoing, self-correcting, and sufficient. The human body is not a single action, but a layered system of quiet events, each unfolding at its own pace. Understanding them is optional, their steadiness is not. Across your body, timing matters as much as structure. Many processes follow internal cycles that repeat every day, guided by molecular clocks inside cells. These clocks influence when genes are activated, when proteins are produced, and when repairs are prioritized. They exist not only in the brain, but in the liver, the heart, the lungs, and even in fat tissue. Each clock keeps its own rhythm, loosely coordinated, allowing different organs to specialize their work across time rather than all at once. Your liver, for instance, shifts its focus depending on these internal signals. At certain times, it emphasizes processing nutrients and storing energy. At others, it leans more heavily into detoxification and cellular cleanup. This flexibility allows one organ to manage hundreds of tasks without overload. The liver's cells are densely packed with enzymes, each shaped to fit a specific chemical reaction, turning complexity into efficiency. The kidneys operate on a similar principle of fine control. Each kidney contains about 1 million tiny filtration units, each one adjusting flow and reabsorption based on signals from the blood. They regulate salt balance, acidity, and water content with extraordinary precision. Rather than filtering everything the same way, they continuously adjust, responding to hydration levels, blood pressure, and hormonal cues. Your blood vessels are not passive pipes. Their walls contain muscle fibers that can tighten or relax, altering blood flow moment by moment. This allows warmth to be conserved or released, pressure to be stabilized, and oxygen delivery to be redirected where it is most needed. These adjustments happen quietly, guided by chemical messengers and local conditions rather than conscious control. Inside the brain, connections between neurons are not fixed. Synapses strengthen, weaken, or disappear entirely depending on use. This adaptability, known as plasticity, allows learning and memory to remain fluid throughout life. Even without deliberate practice, the brain refines its networks based on patterns it detects, reinforcing pathways that are useful and letting others fade. Supporting this adaptability is a constant process of cleanup. Specialized cells remove damaged proteins, broken cell parts, and unnecessary connections. This recycling provides raw materials for new construction. Rather than accumulating debris, the body continuously reuses what it can, maintaining clarity and efficiency at the microscopic level. Your eyes rely on a remarkable division of labor. Rod cells respond to low light and movement, while cone cells detect color and fine detail. Signals from these cells are processed through multiple layers before reaching conscious awareness. Some information never reaches awareness at all, instead guiding reflexes and orientation. Vision is less like a camera and more like an interpretation built from selected signals. Hearing works in a similarly layered way. Sound waves move tiny bones in the middle ear, which amplify vibrations and transmit them into fluid-filled chambers. There, specialized hair cells convert motion into electrical signals. Each hair cell responds best to a particular frequency, allowing the brain to separate complex sounds into distinct components. Direction and distance are inferred from subtle differences between the ears, a constant calculation performed without effort. Your sense of touch depends on a wide variety of receptors, each tuned to a specific kind of information. Some respond to pressure, others to vibration, stretch, temperature, or pain. These signals travel along different pathways, some fast, some slow. The brain integrates them into a coherent picture, deciding which sensations matter and which can be ignored. Movement relies on feedback loops that are both fast and forgiving. When you move, sensors in muscles and joints report position and tension back to the brain. Corrections are made continuously, often before you are aware of them. This allows movements to feel smooth rather than mechanical, adaptable rather than rigid. Even standing still requires coordination. Muscles make tiny adjustments to maintain balance, guided by input from the inner ear, eyes, and joints. These corrections are so small that they usually go unnoticed, yet they prevent falling and fatigue. Stability is maintained through constant motion rather than absolute stillness. Your immune system operates using recognition rather than force alone. Cells display fragments of proteins on their surfaces, effectively presenting identification tags. Immune cells scan these tags, comparing them to known patterns. When something unfamiliar appears, responses are targeted rather than general, minimizing unnecessary damage. Memory cells preserve these patterns, allowing faster recognition in the future. At the cellular level, communication is constant. Cells release signaling molecules that diffuse through surrounding tissue, influencing neighbors. Some signals act locally, others travel through the bloodstream to distant organs. This chemical conversation allows coordination without central oversight, a distributed intelligence rather than a single command center. Your body also maintains a careful balance between rigidity and flexibility. Tissues like cartilage absorb shock and allow smooth movement between bones. Tendons store and release energy, improving efficiency during motion. Ligaments provide stability without locking joints into fixed positions. These materials are arranged to support repeated use, rather than maximum strength alone. Energy storage follows similar principles. Excess energy is stored in multiple forms, short-term and long-term, each accessible under different conditions. Glycogen provides quick access, while fat stores energy densely for extended use. These reserves are managed continuously, preventing both shortage and excess from becoming disruptive. Even at rest, your muscles and nerves generate faint electrical fields. These signals are measurable with sensitive instruments and reflect readiness rather than activity. Life at the cellular level is electrical as much as chemical, shaped by gradients of charged particles moving across membranes. None of these systems operate in isolation. Changes in one ripple outward, prompting subtle adjustments elsewhere. This interdependence allows resilience. If one pathway is stressed or damaged, others often compensate. Redundancy is built into many processes, providing backup rather than perfection. The human body is not optimized for extremes, it is optimized for continuity. Its strength lies not in any single fact or feature, but in the way countless ordinary processes support one another, minute by minute, hour by hour, across a lifetime. And this quiet coordination continues, layer after layer, well beyond what can be noticed at once. The structure of the human body reflects long periods of gradual refinement rather than sudden design. Many features exist not because they are perfect, but because they work well enough across a wide range of conditions. This is especially clear in how different tissues repair themselves. Some, like skin and the lining of the gut, renew rapidly. Others, like heart muscle and certain neurons, persist for decades. This variation allows fast recovery where damage is frequent, and stability where precision matters most. Within the brain, not all neurons behave the same way. Some fire rapidly and briefly, transmitting quick signals. Others fire slowly, shaping mood, attention, and long-term patterns. These differences allow the brain to handle immediate reactions and extended states at the same time. Conscious thought rides on top of these layers, but much of the coordination happens beneath awareness. Your brain also manages prediction constantly. It does not wait for information to arrive before acting. Instead, it anticipates what is likely to happen next, adjusting perception and movement in advance. This predictive processing reduces effort and smooths experience. When reality matches expectation, the brain stays quiet. When it doesn't, attention is drawn in. Most of the time, this system works so well that you never notice it. The eyes and brain cooperate in a similar way. Vision is not a continuous stream of detail, but a series of rapid samples. The brain fills in gaps, stabilizes images, and corrects for movement. This allows the world to appear steady even though your eyes are constantly shifting. Much of what you see is reconstruction rather than direct recording. Your muscles are organized to support endurance more than raw strength. Many muscle fibers are adapted for sustained activity, using oxygen efficiently and resisting fatigue. Others are designed for quick, powerful movements. This mix allows flexibility, supporting everything from walking long distances to making precise gestures with your hands. Inside each muscle fiber, energy is managed carefully. Molecules that store energy release it in small amounts, synchronized with contraction. Waste products are removed steadily, preventing buildup. This fine regulation is why muscles can work repeatedly without sudden failure. Your tendons and connective tissues contribute more than simple attachment. Tendons act like biological springs, storing energy when stretched and releasing it during movement. This reduces the energy cost of walking, running, and even standing. Much of your daily movement is assisted by passive mechanics rather than active effort. The circulatory system adapts continuously to posture and movement. When you stand, blood vessels tighten in the lower body to prevent pooling. When you lie down, this tension eases. These changes are automatic, controlled by pressure sensors in major arteries. They protect blood flow to the brain regardless of position. Your lungs also adjust without instruction. Airflow is directed toward regions with better blood supply, optimizing gas exchange. This matching of air and blood flow improves efficiency without any conscious control. Even subtle changes in posture influence how this balance is achieved. The digestive system responds not only to food, but to expectation. Signals from the brain prepare the stomach and intestines before eating begins. Enzyme production, muscle contractions, and blood flow shift in anticipation. This coordination allows digestion to proceed smoothly once food arrives. Your gut's nervous system can operate independently, but it remains in constant communication with the brain. Messages travel in both directions, influencing appetite, mood, and immune activity. This connection helps explain why digestive discomfort can affect emotions and why stress can alter digestion. The relationship is physical, not symbolic. Your immune system also adapts based on experience. Cells that encounter threats become more efficient at recognizing them. Others learn tolerance, reducing unnecessary reactions to harmless substances. This balance between response and restraint prevents both infection and excessive inflammation. At the microscopic level, cells rely on membranes that carefully control what enters and exits. These membranes are not static barriers, but dynamic structures embedded with proteins that act as gates, pumps, and sensors. Ions move across them in regulated patterns, generating electrical signals and chemical gradients that drive life. Water plays a central role in nearly every process. It dissolves substances, carries heat, cushions structures, and participates directly in chemical reactions. The distribution of water between cells and tissues is tightly regulated, maintaining shape and function. Even small shifts in balance can have noticeable effects, which is why regulation is constant. Your body also manages waste efficiently. Carbon dioxide is expelled through the lungs. Nitrogen-based waste is converted in the liver and removed by the kidneys. Other byproducts are packaged and recycled within cells. Very little is simply discarded without consideration. Even aging reflects regulation rather than simple decline. Some changes result from accumulated wear, while others arise from shifts in gene expression over time. Cells alter which instructions they follow, responding to long-term signals. Aging is not one process, but many overlapping ones unfolding at different rates. Your senses continue to adapt across the lifespan. Sensitivity can increase or decrease depending on use. The brain reallocates resources based on demand. Skills practiced often become more efficient, requiring less effort and fewer signals. Throughout all of this, the body prioritizes continuity over precision. It allows variation, tolerates imperfection, and compensates rather than correcting aggressively. This approach favors survival across unpredictable conditions rather than optimization for any single moment. The result is a system that feels stable not because it is unchanging, but because change is distributed and gradual. Countless small adjustments replace large corrections. Balance is maintained through motion rather than stillness. And this pattern continues across every scale, from molecules to organs, shaping a body that functions not through constant attention, but through quiet, persistent coordination that unfolds steadily over time. The way your body handles information is shaped by limits as much as by capacity. Nerves do not transmit everything at once. Signals are prioritized, delayed, or dampened depending on relevance. This selective flow prevents overload and preserves clarity. Without it, sensation would blur into noise. Instead, perception feels stable because most signals never reach awareness at all. Your spinal cord plays a larger role in this than most people realize. It is not merely a cable carrying instructions from the brain. It contains circuits that manage reflexes, posture, and coordinated movement on their own. These circuits allow rapid responses without waiting for conscious processing. They also free the brain to focus on broader patterns rather than immediate corrections. Reflexes themselves are examples of efficient design. When you pull your hand away from heat, the signal travels through a short loop involving the spinal cord, not the brain's higher centers. Pain is registered slightly later. Protection comes first. This sequence reflects a hierarchy of priorities that favors preservation over awareness. Your blood carries dissolved gases, nutrients, hormones, immune cells, and waste products all at once, yet interference is rare. This works because each component follows different binding rules and transport mechanisms. Oxygen binds to hemoglobin. Hormones travel attached to carrier proteins. Immune cells move independently. The bloodstream functions as a shared route without becoming confused traffic. The walls of your blood vessels respond locally to conditions around them. If a tissue becomes active, chemical signals cause nearby vessels to widen, increasing supply. If demand drops, vessels narrow. This local control allows precise delivery without centralized direction. Each region manages its own needs within a shared system. Inside the brain, energy use is tightly regulated. Neurons consume large amounts of energy relative to their size, yet they cannot store much of it. Instead, they rely on a constant supply delivered by a dense network of blood vessels. Support cells help regulate this flow, ensuring that active regions receive what they need when they need it. Your brain's surface is folded rather than smooth for a practical reason. Folding increases surface area, allowing more neurons to fit within the limited volume of the skull. These folds are not random. Different regions specialize in different functions, from movement and sensation to language and planning. The organization is consistent across individuals, even though details vary. Language itself relies on distributed networks rather than a single center. Sounds, meanings, and motor control for speech are handled by different regions working together. Damage to one area may impair fluency but leave comprehension intact, or vice versa. This separation allows partial preservation of function even when systems are stressed. Memory is stored in a similarly distributed way. Emotional tone, sensory detail, and factual context are processed in different locations. When a memory is recalled, these components are reassembled. This reconstruction allows flexibility but also means memory can change slightly over time. Stability comes from patterns, not fixed records. Your senses are constantly calibrated against one another. Vision influences balance. Balance influences muscle tone. Touch influences perception of body position. This integration allows consistency even when one sense provides incomplete information. If one channel becomes less reliable, others can compensate. The immune system operates with similar redundancy. Multiple pathways can recognize and respond to the same threat. If one mechanism fails, others may still succeed. This layered defense reduces vulnerability to any single point of failure. At the level of tissue, cells are anchored to one another by protein structures that provide strength and flexibility. These connections allow tissues to stretch, compress, and recover without tearing. They also transmit information. Cells sense mechanical forces and adjust behavior accordingly, responding to pressure, tension, and movement. Bone adapts especially well to these forces. When stressed repeatedly, it becomes denser along lines of load. When stress is removed, it gradually lightens. This responsiveness conserves material while maintaining strength. Structure follows use rather than rigid blueprint. Your skin responds similarly. Areas exposed to friction thicken. Areas protected remain thinner. Pigmentation adjusts with light exposure. These changes are local and reversible, allowing adaptation without permanent commitment. The body also tracks internal conditions continuously. Sensors monitor blood chemistry, temperature, oxygen levels, and pressure. When values drift from their preferred ranges, corrective actions begin quietly. Breathing rate adjusts, heart rate shifts, hormone release changes. Most corrections are small, preventing extremes before they develop. Even emotions have physical counterparts. Chemical messengers influence heart rate, muscle tension, and digestion. These responses evolve to prepare the body for action, but they are also regulated and reversible. Once a signal passes, systems return toward baseline. Your body's preference is not for constant calm or constant alertness, but for range. It is built to move between states smoothly. Transition matters more than permanence. Across decades, this capacity for adjustment supports survival through illness, injury, and change. Tissues remodel, circuits reorganize, functions redistribute. Loss in one area may be offset by gains elsewhere. None of this requires instruction. These mechanisms emerged because they worked, not because they were planned. Their persistence reflects usefulness across time rather than optimization for any single moment. The human body is therefore best understood not as a machine with fixed settings, but as a responsive system that favors balance through flexibility. It maintains itself not by resisting change, but by incorporating it, step by step, across a lifetime. And these processes continue steadily, layer upon layer, well beyond the point where attention usually rests, shaping experience quietly, consistently, and without interruption. At a deeper level, much of what your body does is governed by thresholds rather than absolutes. Many systems remain quiet until a certain point is reached, then respond smoothly rather than abruptly. This is true for nerve firing, hormone release, and immune activation. By waiting for meaningful change before reacting, the body avoids unnecessary effort and preserves stability across constantly shifting conditions. Your neurons, for example, do not fire at the slightest disturbance. Electrical signals build gradually until a threshold is crossed, and only then does a signal travel onward. This prevents random noise from becoming action. It also allows patterns to emerge, where groups of neurons fire together in coordinated ways, shaping thought, movement, and perception through timing rather than sheer intensity. Timing is central everywhere. Heart cells fire in a precise sequence so that chambers contract in the correct order. Muscle fibers activate in staggered patterns to produce smooth motion rather than jerks. Digestive muscles move in waves, pushing contents forward without mixing directions. Coordination comes from sequence, not force. Your body also uses compartmentalization to manage complexity. Chemical reactions occur in specific locations, enclosed within membranes or specialized structures. This prevents interference and allows different processes to happen simultaneously without conflict. Inside cells, mitochondria handle energy production, lysosomes manage waste, and the nucleus protects genetic material. Order is maintained by separation as much as by control. Even within the bloodstream, separation exists. Different components occupy different spaces and follow different rules. Plasma carries dissolved substances. Cells travel independently. Platelets remain inactive until needed. This organization allows rapid response without constant activation. The immune system relies heavily on this principle. Most immune cells circulate quietly until they encounter a specific signal. Inflammation is localized rather than systemic when possible. This containment limits collateral damage and speeds recovery. Your body's ability to heal reflects similar restraint. When tissue is damaged, repair begins with temporary scaffolding rather than permanent replacement. Cells migrate, divide, and specialize only as much as needed. Excess tissue is removed once healing is complete. Scars form when damage exceeds certain limits, but even then, remodeling continues for months or years, refining structure gradually. Growth follows the same logic. During development, cells respond to gradients of signaling molecules, forming tissues and organs without a central blueprint. Position and context matter more than instructions. Cells interpret where they are and adjust accordingly. This decentralized construction produces consistent forms without requiring oversight. The brain develops in a comparable way. Early connections form broadly, then are refined through experience. Connections that are used frequently are strengthened. Those that are rarely used are pruned away. This process continues into adulthood, allowing adaptation while preserving core functions. Your sensory systems depend on contrast rather than absolute values. You detect changes in light more readily than constant brightness, differences in temperature rather than steady warmth, movement rather than stillness. This sensitivity to change conserves resources and focuses attention where it is most useful. The same principle applies internally. Sensors detect shifts in blood chemistry rather than fixed amounts. Small deviations trigger adjustments long before extremes occur. Stability is achieved by anticipating change, not reacting to crisis. Your muscles and joints also operate within preferred ranges. They are strongest and most efficient within certain angles and loads. Beyond these ranges, protective reflexes activate, limiting movement or force. This reduces injury and distributes wear over time. Energy use follows predictable patterns. Systems that require rapid response rely on readily available sources. Systems that support long-term function draw from slower reserves. This layering allows both endurance and responsiveness without competition. Your body also tracks efficiency. Processes that cost more energy than benefit are adjusted or reduced over time. Muscles adapt to repeated use. Neural pathways streamline. Movements become smoother with practice. What once required effort gradually becomes economical. At the cellular level, proteins are constantly evaluated. Those that are damaged or misfolded are tagged and broken down. Their components are reused. This quality control prevents accumulation of errors and preserves function across billions of interactions. Even randomness is harnessed. Molecular motion is unpredictable, yet when constrained by structure, it produces reliable outcomes. Diffusion moves substances where they are needed. Probability guides reactions toward balance. Order emerges not by eliminating randomness, but by shaping its effects. Across all of this, there is no single point where the body stops adjusting. Change is continuous but distributed so finely that it feels stable. Large shifts are rare because countless small ones happen first. This is why the body can withstand variation in temperature, nutrition, activity, and environment without constant disruption. Flexibility is built into every layer, from molecules to organs. The human body persists not because it resists change, but because it incorporates it incrementally. Each moment leaves a trace, and each trace is weighed against countless others, producing continuity without rigidity. And this quiet, ongoing negotiation continues everywhere at once, shaping form, function, and experience through steady adaptation rather than dramatic correction, moment after moment, across the long span of a human life. As the body continues its quiet work, one of its most consistent strategies is reuse. Very little is ever truly wasted. Molecules are broken down into components that can serve new purposes. Amino acids from old proteins become building blocks for new ones. Fats are rearranged and repurposed. Even damaged cells are dismantled in orderly ways, their parts returned to circulation. This constant recycling reduces the need for fresh resources and keeps internal systems efficient over long periods. Cells rely on a shared chemical language to coordinate this activity. Small signaling molecules drift through tissues, binding to receptors only when shapes match. This lock-and-key specificity allows messages to reach precise targets without confusion. A signal meant for muscle will not activate a nerve. A signal meant to slow growth will not trigger inflammation. Accuracy comes from form rather than volume. Your connective tissues play a larger role in this coordination than they appear to. Fascia, a web-like network surrounding muscles and organs, transmits mechanical forces and chemical signals across distances. It helps distribute stress evenly and allows different parts of the body to move in relation to one another. Rather than isolating structures, it links them, contributing to overall coherence. Within joints, cartilage absorbs impact and reduces friction. Its smooth surface allows bones to glide past one another thousands of times each day with minimal wear. Cartilage receives nutrients not from blood vessels, but from the movement of surrounding fluid. Motion itself helps sustain it, illustrating how structure and function often support each other directly. Your tendons and ligaments are composed mostly of collagen, a protein arranged in long, parallel fibers. This alignment gives them strength along specific directions while allowing slight flexibility. Over time, collagen fibers realign in response to repeated stress, reinforcing areas of greatest demand. This remodeling happens slowly, favoring durability over rapid change. Inside your cells, enzymes accelerate chemical reactions that would otherwise proceed too slowly to sustain life. Each enzyme is shaped to stabilize a particular reaction, lowering the energy required. Once the reaction is complete, the enzyme remains unchanged, ready to assist again. This reuse allows complex chemistry to occur continuously without excessive cost. Temperature regulation is another example of distributed control. Heat is generated by metabolic activity and released through the skin and breath. Blood flow adjusts to conserve or dissipate warmth as needed. In colder conditions, muscles may produce heat through small contractions. In warmer conditions, evaporation carries heat away. No single structure controls this entirely. Balance emerges from many local responses. Your body's fluids are carefully compartmentalized. Blood plasma, interstitial fluid, and the fluid inside cells each have distinct compositions. Membranes regulate exchange between them, maintaining gradients essential for electrical signaling and chemical reactions. These gradients represent stored energy used to drive processes without requiring constant input. Electrical activity in nerves and muscles depends on the movement of charged particles across membranes. Sodium, potassium, calcium, and chloride ions shift position in precise sequences. Channels open and close in response to voltage changes or chemical signals. This orchestration allows rapid communication without depleting resources, as ions are pumped back into place afterward. Your brain uses similar principles to manage information. Signals are amplified, dampened, or synchronized depending on context. Attention emerges not from a single control center, but from interactions between networks that favor certain patterns over others. When patterns align, awareness sharpens. When they disperse, awareness softens. Learning follows gradual reinforcement rather than instant change. Repeated activation of certain pathways strengthens connections between neurons. Supporting cells adjust insulation and nutrient delivery to match demand. Over time, this makes frequently used circuits faster and more reliable. Rarely used pathways lose efficiency but are not erased entirely. Your heart's rhythm is another example of layered control. While it generates its own electrical impulses, it remains sensitive to chemical signals and nerve input. This allows it to adapt smoothly to changing conditions without losing regularity. Variability within limits is a sign of health rather than instability. Blood itself behaves differently depending on vessel size. In large arteries, it flows in steady pulses. In tiny capillaries, it moves slowly, sometimes stopping briefly to allow exchange. Red blood cells deform to pass through narrow spaces, then return to shape. This flexibility ensures delivery even in densely packed tissues. Your lungs are structured to maximize contact between air and blood. Millions of tiny sacs create an enormous surface area within a compact space. Thin walls allow gases to diffuse quickly. Surfactant molecules reduce surface tension, preventing collapse. Each breath refreshes this interface without strain. Your digestive enzymes are released only where needed. Acidic conditions in the stomach activate certain enzymes, while others remain inactive until reaching the intestine. This staged activation prevents damage and improves efficiency. Timing and location are as important as chemistry. The gut lining renews itself frequently, creating a barrier that is both selective and resilient. Tight junctions between cells regulate what passes through. Immune cells embedded in this lining sample contents, distinguishing between nutrients and potential threats. Tolerance and defense operate side by side. Your microbiome contributes additional metabolic capabilities. Certain bacteria break down fibers your own enzymes cannot digest, producing compounds that nourish gut cells and influence immune responses. This collaboration extends metabolic range without increasing complexity within your own cells. Your senses adapt continuously to prevailing conditions. In low light, vision becomes more sensitive to movement. In steady noise, hearing reduces its response. This adaptation preserves sensitivity to change rather than constant input. It is easier to detect what is new than what is ongoing. Pain perception follows similar principles. Signals are modulated by context, expectation, and competing input. This does not eliminate pain, but it shapes its impact. The nervous system balances protection with function, allowing movement even in imperfect conditions. Your posture is maintained through reflexive adjustments informed by multiple senses. Proprioceptors in muscles and joints report position. The inner ear reports orientation. Vision provides reference. These inputs are integrated continuously, allowing stability without rigidity. At the level of development, many features of the body are shaped by interaction rather than instruction. Bones grow in response to load. Neural circuits refine through experience. Immune tolerance develops through exposure. Environment and biology remain intertwined throughout life. Even genetic expression is influenced by conditions. Chemical markers attach to DNA and associated proteins, altering which genes are active without changing the sequence itself. This epigenetic regulation allows cells to adjust behavior based on history and context. Repair mechanisms are prioritized differently depending on tissue type. Skin heals quickly to restore barrier function. Bone heals more slowly, rebuilding structure carefully. Nerve repair is limited but adaptable, relying on rerouting rather than replacement. Each strategy reflects functional needs. Your body's systems are designed to degrade gracefully rather than fail suddenly. Redundancy, reserve capacity, and gradual change reduce the impact of damage. This does not prevent aging or injury, but it spreads their effects over time. Across decades, the cumulative result of these strategies is continuity. The body changes, but not all at once. It responds, but not excessively. It adapts, but not recklessly. What emerges is not perfection, but persistence, a form that remains workable across variation, capable of adjustment without constant oversight. And all of this continues quietly, sustained by ordinary processes repeated countless times, building stability from repetition rather than force, carrying the body forward through time with steady, unremarkable reliability. The human body is also shaped by cooperation across scales that rarely interact directly. Molecules follow physical laws, cells follow chemical cues, tissues respond to mechanical forces, organs coordinate through blood flow and signaling. None of these layers understands the whole, yet together they produce continuity. What feels unified from the inside is, in reality, the result of many partial perspectives overlapping just enough to work. One of the clearest examples of this layered cooperation is circulation. The heart creates pressure, but direction and distribution depend on vessel structure, valve timing, and local resistance. Capillaries determine where exchange actually happens. Tissues themselves influence how much blood they receive by releasing local signals. Flow emerges from negotiation, not command. The same pattern appears in breathing. The brainstem sets a baseline rhythm, but breathing adjusts constantly to posture, chemistry, temperature, and activity. Sensors in blood vessels detect carbon dioxide and oxygen levels. Stretch receptors in the lungs report expansion. Even emotional states influence breathing through higher brain centers. No single signal dominates for long. Balance is achieved through continuous correction. Your metabolism follows similar principles. Energy is not simply burned or stored, it is redirected. When one pathway slows, another compensates. When demand increases, supply ramps up from multiple sources. This flexibility allows survival across feast and scarcity, rest and effort, growth and repair. At the molecular level, this adaptability depends on feedback loops. Products of reactions often inhibit their own production once enough is present. This prevents runaway processes. Other reactions accelerate when demand rises. These loops are everywhere, stabilizing chemistry without requiring foresight. Your nervous system uses feedback in the same way. Sensory input adjusts motor output. Motor output alters sensory input. Perception and action form a loop rather than a sequence. This is why movement feels guided rather than calculated. Correction happens continuously, not after errors are noticed. Your immune system also relies on layered feedback. Initial responses are broad and fast. Later responses are slower but more specific. Signals from damaged tissue amplify defense, while signals from healing tissue dampen it. This prevents prolonged inflammation once repair is underway. Even the way your body handles uncertainty reflects this philosophy. Instead of committing fully to one response, it often maintains multiple options at low levels. Muscles remain partially engaged. Immune cells circulate without activating. Hormones fluctuate within ranges. This readiness allows rapid adjustment without constant cost. Your skeleton illustrates this balance well. Bones are strong but not brittle. Their internal structure distributes force rather than resisting it directly. Microscopic cracks are expected and repaired continuously. Failure occurs not because cracks exist, but because repair cannot keep up. Maintenance, not invulnerability, is the goal. The same is true of blood vessels. Their elasticity absorbs pressure changes. With each heartbeat, arteries expand slightly, smoothing flow. This reduces strain on smaller vessels and improves efficiency. Stiffness increases vulnerability. Flexibility preserves function. Your brain, despite its complexity, also favors efficiency over precision. It uses shortcuts, patterns, and predictions. It fills gaps rather than recording everything. This conserves energy and time. Mistakes occur, but they are usually minor and correctable. Accuracy emerges from redundancy, not perfection. Language, memory, and perception all reflect this trade-off. They are robust enough to function despite noise and variation. Exact replication is unnecessary. Meaning survives even when details shift. Your senses continuously recalibrate. Vision adapts to lighting conditions. Hearing adjusts to background noise. Touch sensitivity changes with temperature and use. These adjustments preserve usefulness rather than fidelity. What matters is detecting change, not recording constants. Internally, similar recalibration occurs. Hormone receptors adjust their sensitivity based on exposure. Neural circuits adjust thresholds based on recent activity. This prevents saturation and preserves responsiveness. Your body also carries a record of its own history. Past infections shape immune memory. Past movement shapes muscle and bone. Past nutrition influences metabolism. These influences are not stored as narratives but as structural tendencies. History becomes bias rather than recall. This bias is not rigid. It can be reshaped by new conditions. Muscles weaken and strengthen. Circuits rewire. Tolerance shifts. Change is always possible but rarely instantaneous. Even aging follows this logic. It is not a single decline, but a redistribution of priorities. Repair becomes less aggressive. Growth slows. Resources are allocated differently. Some systems degrade earlier, others remain resilient. The pattern varies across individuals because history varies. What remains consistent is the strategy. Gradual change, distributed control, layered feedback, and tolerance for imperfection. The human body does not aim to be optimal at any one moment. It aims to remain functional across many moments. Its intelligence lies in moderation rather than extremes. This perspective reframes many familiar sensations. Fatigue is not failure, but signaling. Hunger is not deficit, but coordination. Pain is not malfunction, but protection. Even discomfort often reflects negotiation rather than breakdown. Understanding this does not require vigilance. The body does not ask to be monitored. It operates whether noticed or not. And that is perhaps the most calming fact of all. The vast majority of what keeps you alive and stable is not influenced by attention. It proceeds regardless of thought, interpretation, or intention. Cells divide, molecules drift, signals rise and fall, tissues adjust. organs coordinate. Nothing dramatic is required. The body persists through repetition, not effort. It is not heroic, it is steady. As this long overview begins to settle, there is no need to hold on to details. These facts do not build toward a conclusion. They form a landscape rather than an argument. You can move through it slowly or not at all. The human body does not need to be understood to function. It only needs time. And time is what it has always worked with. It adapts across minutes, hours, years, and decades. It carries traces of the past while remaining open to the present. It balances structure with change, strength with flexibility, precision with tolerance. Even now, these processes continue exactly as they always have. There is nothing additional required, nothing to manage, nothing to resolve. The body will continue its quiet coordination, moment by moment, whether or not it is being considered. That constant is not passive, it is active in the gentlest way. And it is enough. So for now, the story can rest. The body knows what to do. Good night.